If you're here for the Mehndi Velodrome Day of Action, please join us here. Thank you everyone for coming. My name is Renata. I'm one of the residents of Cascais, one of the users of the velodrome. Not as much as I should or could. And we're here today for this day of action, mainly because, as you all know, the council is demolishing or wants to demolish the velodrome. And we're here because we want to be heard. The community and the residents weren't really consulted about this. Our concerns haven't really been heard. The more than 400 complaints that were sent to the consultation were largely ignored, and so was the petition that had almost 5,000 signatures. So we're trying other ways of making ourselves heard. From my personal experience, I have to say that my kids go to Cascais High School. So my son is now in college, but my daughter is still there. And one thing I want to make absolutely straight is that this campaign is not about or not being against any developments or improvements of the school. The school needs that. But for my part, it took me a little while. So I heard about the school being improved, and I was quite happy about that. And then the leaflets from the council were coming in, and eventually I realized that actually what they were doing was giving this community a choice between a high school or an amazing historic sports facility. And that is not a fair choice. It's absolutely fine to demand and to want a good high school and a velodrome as well. And they weren't very transparent about the whole thing, and that's also part of the problem. And they're saying, yeah, they'll build a new velodrome, and it's actually going to be smaller. But even if it wasn't, it's not going to be a community velodrome. It's not going to be available to everyone who can just come in and use it. It's not going to be the same. It's removing a community asset from us, and that is something that we should fight. And Cascais is a community that has, as we all know, a lot of students, and personally I love that, but it does mean that it's a community that is ever changing, and we really need to work hard to keep together as a community, and facilities like this are absolutely crucial. And I don't think we can say that Cascais is particularly well served for facilities and structures that bring our community together, and this is definitely one of them. So I'm going to invite a few people to say a few more words, people to share. I mean, this is open. Anyone would like to come and share stories of Mehndi Velodrome or any ideas, very welcome. And also Ant Garland, I don't know if you're right or not, but he's one of the people who are involved in starting this campaign. He said he would say a few words about the campaign. Ant, are you here or not? No. Steve would like to say something, okay? And then if there are any groups, political parties, anyone who'd like to come and show their solidarity, again, they're very welcome. We already know Lib Dems have shown their solidarity, the Socialist Party have shown their solidarity. We have someone from the Trade Unions Council here who come to give their solidarity, and Adam, who's kindly holding the megaphone from People's Assembly, also coming to show and give us his solidarity. So all the solidarity, all the support is very welcome. And I'll pass the word to Christine, who's also one of the people involved in starting this campaign. Thank you. Hello, testing.
Hi, yeah, I'm Christine, and I post quite a lot on the Save the Mehndi Facebook group, so you probably got an idea who I am. I just live up the road. Basically, I'm going to keep it really short. I'm going to give you some information that we just had this week on Tuesday afternoon. Sorry. That we haven't made public. I was going to save it for today. Basically, we've been in touch with the Charity Commission, and just to let you know that they're going to be investigating Cardiff Council's request. Okay? So, from what we've been told, that might hold up things for quite a while. I'm not sure how long, but it means that the council basically can't, anything, you know, they can't actually start building or while they're being investigated. So, yeah, we had a gentleman who was in the Norwegian Church campaign, who was quite knowledgeable on things to do with covenants and changes of land use. And what it is, the council are the sole trustee of the Maynty Park charity, and they would end up they'd gain materially and financially, you know, from the change of use. So we submitted, it's basically a complaint on the 3rd of November, and they actually confirmed this Tuesday that they are investigating. So the council are not going to get their request rubber stamped and just push through. And the other thing to mention about that was your lovely Labour councillors in the cabinet meeting said they would hold a public consultation for 2 weeks, you know, asking for people's views on changing the use of the land, and they haven't done it. They've just gone straight to the Charity Commission and tried to get it changed. So I thought, you know, I'd just get that in there. And then I think that's about it really. Oh, we have got a copy of plans from last year, because we're finding it really strange that 9 months after the consultation there's still no plans available. So I don't know if there's something really contentious that they're planning on doing, and they don't want us to know. But we're contacting the relevant scrutiny committee in the next couple of days, you know, chasing that up again. I mean, they've been asking Sarah Merry for a year now for plans, and she just keeps giving them the brush off. So if anyone wants to contact Sarah Merry now again and start asking her, you know, where are the plans, you know, we'd like to see them. And sorry if it's a bit garbled. And then the one final other thing, I'm in contact with a rather senior member of Maynty Flyers. He's been there for years and years, and he's given me authority to quote them. They are not in full support of the new facility at all. They have actually told the council project manager that the new facility is not an adequate replacement for Maynty, but this concern is effectively being quashed. I won't say any more on that. And also they've got to do with the capacity of the track as well. They've got serious concerns about the capacity of the track because it's a third smaller than this one. But again, the council have quashed that as well. So, you know, it's not getting out to the public that, you know, one of the main stakeholders is not happy with the new facility. So I thought I'd just let you know about that. That's the only thing. Yeah, there's so much more I could go on about, but yeah, right, okay, that's it. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Chris Lewis. I'm on the committee for the Velodrome campaign. I just wanted to point one thing out. The amount of misinformation given by the council is quite staggering. One example would be they've claimed that they're going to create new open space. I mean, when you look around, there's quite a huge area of open space. How can you increase open space by building a school on the site? Well, what they say is that this area that we're standing on here now is not actually open space because cyclists use it from time to time. So this whole green area here, they haven't included in their calculation of the existing open space. So they're going to just leave a short area at the end here of sort of what they say is a new park. And it's absurd. We've got a huge area of parkland already. So yeah, just wanted to make that point really, that there's a massive amount of misinformation. The councillor claimed they'd gone through a consultation process, but it's just been a case of ticking boxes, and they've already decided what they want to do. It's disgraceful, really.
Yeah, so, I mean, I found out about the plans in March during the first consultation on the Cathays High expansion, at which point the use of the track site was kind of buried in a 30-odd page consultation document and not mentioned on the consultation itself. Soon after, the council published a report summarising the responses. Despite hiding the information, a lot of people objected to the loss of Maindy. The council said the response from cycling clubs was overwhelmingly positive. The opposite of that was true. Then they announced they would issue a statutory notice, and that's when I started the Facebook group, the Change petition, the Twitter account, and put some posters up. Met a few people keen to stop the steal, literally, including the three Chris's and Andrew and Reese. So once the statutory notice went live in June, posters went up all around the track and pretty much anywhere Chris went. Many of us spoke to a lot of people who weren't happy with the plans, including most of the parents at Maindy Flyers. And it was around this time that Geraint Thomas and Chris Hoy tweeted the petition, which then gathered a couple of thousand signatures there. So objections to the statutory notice went in. Lots of Labour propaganda leaflets went out, followed by our own truthful leaflets. The council then ignored 425 of our objections, 4,000 petition signatures, and approved the expansion to the planning stage without, as far as I could tell, a single thought of considering alternatives. They promised all along that they'd exhausted all options, and this was the only way the school could go ahead. More accurately, this was the only way the velodrome could go ahead, the new velodrome, by repurposing 2.4 million of education funding to build the new track at the Bay, which we then found out the council was in discussion with cycling clubs about since 2019. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. Yes, since come to light that they never had proper discussions with the neighbouring sites of the school, Company's House, which has a completely unused parking lot, big enough to build a school in. They sent plans to the barracks, which included them basically using the track site, so that the barracks came back and just said, no, you can just not use our site, clearly. Since I've run out of notes, but yeah, since then, what's happened? I suppose we've been meeting, we've had more propaganda leaflets come through the post, the council applied for planning permission down at the Bay, not actually including the closed road loop that almost all of the cycling clubs have insisted on. Somewhat naively, in my opinion. Sorry if I upset anyone. The cycling clubs continue to support it, the main ones, as do the governing bodies. Yes, and they do that on the condition that this closed road circuit is built, which they've only said the new track may be built. They've basically just kind of hinted that, oh yeah, you might get a closed circuit as well. So yeah, I'd be incredibly surprised if they delivered on their promises, given their track record. Excuse the pun. Yeah, I think many people here will probably remember the Empire Pool and the replacement for that not being built for 10 years after it was closed down. I mean, I'm not saying that that's going to happen to the velodrome track down at the bay, but yeah, I think history is our best guide on their timescales. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty much all I wanted to say. Thanks for listening. Yeah, and thanks for coming down. This is a really good turnout, and it just shows kind of how much opposition there is in the local area, really. I mean, I've spoken to lots of people who have, when they found out about the plans, were surprised and upset, and yeah, I don't think any of the engagement I've had with the Labour councillors has shown me that they're listening to anyone. Yeah, so yeah, disappointment. Anyway, thanks guys.
Yes, there was one other point I wanted to make as well. This is covenanted land. This is covenanted land. It was given by the Marquis of Bute in 1922 to the people of Cardiff on the understanding that this land would remain open space in perpetuity. Next year, 2022, is the 100th anniversary of that very kind donation of this open space to the people of Cardiff. It wasn't to limit it to 100 years and allow the council to build on it. This is our land. This is our open space. And it's given to us, to our children, to our children's children, in perpetuity. The council have no right to remove that covenant. And it's disgraceful.
Well, hi everybody. Some of you may know myself. My name's Ashley and this is Reese. And if you happen to live on that side of Crown Bay, then we are the councillors that represent Gibraltar. And we do feel very sorry for those of you who live in Cathays where your councillors have absolutely failed to represent you and your views. They should be representing the residents even if it doesn't agree with their party or their administration. My colleague Reese in a moment is just going to tell you some of the dealings, because we've been contacted and we've found the entire approach by the council, this entire process to be appalling. And we'll tell you a little bit about some of the things that we've been told and how they've dealt with us with this in a moment. But we're clearly of the view that if the council so desired, they would find a way to respect residents' views, to deliver both a new school and protect our cycle track, rather than depriving our community of a valued resource in an area where we're losing things constantly to the bay, which is one of the most inaccessible parts of the city, and it seems to be for the interest of certain senior people who like to have their names on big buildings and new things, let alone the and let alone the environmental impact of knocking down something that exists to build something new. After all, this council claims that there's an environmental emergency, so how is it justifiable to keep knocking things down and rebuilding them? I'll pass over to my colleague Reese.
We are the Local Democrat councillors for Gibraltar, and I lead the Live Down group on Cardiff Council. And by doing so, I sit at the cabinet meetings, and we ask the question routinely as to what engagement has there been with the community before you come to the point where you legally change the designation of a school, because as several speakers have pointed out, as more and more questions have been asked, more and more information has come to light, and it should not be a position where ordinary citizens are literally fighting against the people who are elected to represent them in that institution. Councils are there to represent people, and it very much feels at the moment that Cardiff Council does not speak for people of Cardiff. And we asked the question, well, I think it was Ant that said, what cycle groups have you engaged with? What conversations have you had with the community? What conversations have you had with residents? And we were told, oh, everyone's in agreement. Everyone's agreed that we should be demolishing the velodrome and building a new school. Now, as Christine said, and I think Renata said, the decision to pick this as a choice between the velodrome and the school is absolutely disgusting. You should not be pitting people against people in order to make some grand project, as Ashley said, to be able to deliver something new. Cathays High absolutely needs a brand new school. The condition of that building is terrible, but that does not need to come at the expense of this facility. We don't have enough in this part of the city. We don't have enough in Cardiff North. And the decision to move things down to the bay to make it more expensive for families, somebody said I was talking to earlier, it will become an elite sport in Cardiff. I was talking to a father not a few weeks ago who said his 3 children attend cycle groups. He's looking at tripling what he currently pays for his sons to attend cycling. Well, that family just won't cycle anymore. And that's the decision that this council is making when it demolishes an accessible community venue to build a brand new flashy provision in the bay that we don't actually know will work and serve the needs of the city. So thank you very much for coming out. Thank you for being here on a cold December day, and thank you to all the campaigners, Christine, Andy and Ant, who have done an incredible amount of work to bring to bear the reality of this project and the reality of what's happening here, because without them there'd be so much that some of us know that we're not able to put into the public domain until it gets into the public domain because of that pushing that they've done over the last couple of months. So thank you very much. And one thing actually before I finish is that Ant did say at the beginning that the consultation document didn't actually state that the velodrome would be lost. So one of the things that we've done as the council is write to the Auditor General for Wales to ask that the Auditor General investigate this cannot be the way that we continue in Cardiff of bulldozing through projects because it suits the administration and not residents. So please keep going. There is still time to save the velodrome, and please keep campaigning. Diolch yn fawr.
Hi, my name is Dave Bartlett. I'm the Secretary of the Cardiff Trades Council, and we're very pleased to give you our support, our solidarity, and the best of luck in your campaign. And your campaign fits in very much, with what is happening right around Cardiff, not just this year, but over the last 5 to 10 years, where we've seen community after community lose their jobs, lose their youth clubs, lose their facilities. We've seen massive privatisation, and by the way, that's been true not just under Labour Council, but Liberal councils as well. And now we are at a point where we're saying enough is enough. And it just so happens that we're saying in Cardiff Trades Council, we're calling this year for what we call a needs budget. A budget for ordinary people based on the communities and what they need, as opposed to a budget that's been the case for the last 10 years, a budget on the needs of property developers. And it is a lie. It is a lie when they say that there isn't enough for both. And also it's true what all the speakers have said, there's no guarantee that any news item will happen in the Bay. Only this council said only 5 years ago, when they finally got their demand from the property developers to get rid of the bus station. Do you remember that? They said there would be a new one. There isn't going to be a new one for Cardiff people. There is going to be one that's only for the buses that go out of the city. And that's typical right across the city, the blight we have seen in the last 10 years. And therefore we have to put on them right now the lie there isn't enough for both. There is. Cardiff Council has £100 million in reserve. And we say use those reserves to build for this community, to safeguard this place and to modernise Cathays High School, which is absolutely essential. And that is why in Cardiff this year the Trades Council is writing not just to our own trade union affiliates, but to all community groups across the city, inviting them to sit down and put what they consider is their needs, their request for the next year, and from that, if you set your group, send it please in. Send it into the Cardiff Trades Council. We've set up a public meeting in the Clayton Hotel on January 31st, where we will put all together the needs of the people in Cardiff, and from that we will then organise a lobby to say to the council, and this applies to all councillors, whatever party you are, if you are serious in fighting for both, then vote to end the ban on using the reserves. They tell us they can't use the reserves because it's for a rainy day. Well, we say we're not interested in a rainy day. We've had a drought which we say to stop. There's absolutely no need for brilliant facility like this to be moved down to the bay on the idea of speculation, because that's what it is. It's the council trying to square the circle. So please, come to that meeting, make your submissions, get together with the trade unions and all the local communities. We will go to the council in February saying we want a budget based on needs of us, not on those of private property developers and the like. Thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Adam Johannes. The name of my organisation is Cardiff People's Assembly. We really want to build a citizens' movement in this city that can take power out of the hands of the corporate elites and place it where it belongs, in the hands of you, the people. Now, I think it feels like that we have the best council that money can buy. Because it feels like if you're a developer or a property speculator or one of the money men, then you have the ear of this council. You get invited to the backroom meetings, you get listened to, but you can be one of the ordinary citizens, the everyday people, and you can write 400 complaints. You can have a petition signed by 5,000 people, and then we can get back this propaganda, spin, and lies. And so, I think what you're doing here is really important. This is about the resurrection of our local democracy, the resurrection of transparency, about building a council that serves the people, not profit. Now, in our organisation, People's Assembly, one of our slogans is "Fight to win," because we're in it to win it. We don't believe in staging campaigns and going into them with the perspective that we lose. We think that we should go into battles with the perspective that we're going to win. And in fact, we have won many of our campaigns. 1 year ago, we launched a campaign, our network across Wales, to say that free school meals should be for all school students, not just all school students. That not a single young child or young person in Wales should be turned away from a hot, nutritious meal at school for lack of funds. We're very pleased that the Welsh Government has announced that they'll be rolling out free school meals to all primary school children. It might not be as fast as we wanted, but it's going to happen. In 2015, we launched our development campaign to save Cardiff libraries, which were permanent closure. We forced the council to U-turn. A year later, they wanted to make £750,000 cuts to the arts budget. We forced the council to U-turn again. And I'm not here to boast about our group. The reason why I want to say this is, I think that if we get organised, that we can win. And I've been really inspired by hearing the kind of organising that people already talked about. You know, we need to really find like-minded groups in the community, you know, who have links with the kind of facilities here and ask their support. You know, people mentioned the trade unions. There are many trade unions, like Unison, who support council services, you know, who we can get on board. You know, we can find public figures, you know, in the world, some of the kind of activities to take here, who will like, sort of lend their campaign. We have to relentlessly, I think, target the councils so they can't get away from us. When we were campaigning, we used to, I don't know how it works now because a lot of the meetings are online. Wherever the council had a meeting in City Hall, we'd pick it outside, we'd leave it at every council as they're going in, then we'd have someone inside answering a question from the public gallery. You know, we'd send letters to the press, you know, we'd get press releases out, we'd do whatever we could to kind of create this sense of the council. So if you try and cut a community facility that is going to come at a political cost to you in support, that you're not going to get away with this. So I just want to wish you every success in this battle. I hope that this is going to be the first of many demonstrations and marches and activities. It sounds like with the Charity Commission, there's one breathing space so we can have more campaigning, more getting the word out there to local residents. And I think it's so important that you said that you reject the false choices that they present you with. You have to choose between a school or your facility like this to say, no, we'll have both. So I just want to thank you for all the campaigning you're doing because it's inspiring me. And as the slogan goes, dare to struggle, dare to win.